Here we go. Okay, today we want to talk about something that's really critical in your research paper. It's critical for a few reasons. We're going to talk about creating a statement of purpose, a thesis statement, as part of the introduction to your paper. Okay, here's why it's critical early on like this in your research process. The sooner you can decide exactly where it is you're going with your paper, not general direction, but pretty much exactly where you're going with your paper, the easier it is for you to do research, because most of you have shown 4, 5, 6 different areas that you want to go toward, and that's fine. But as soon as you can put down in my paper, this is what I want to accomplish, the sooner you can say that, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to find, my paper will go into. As soon as you can make statements like that, you will be able to gear your research exactly in that direction. Okay? So doing this early helps you not spend a lot of time in your research, time that you won't, collecting ideas that you won't be able to use. You will have honed in on where you're going, and so your research can hone in that same place. Okay? So it's important for you to try to write something that gives a good idea of where your research paper is going to go. Then you'll write that statement of purpose, or whatever you want to call it. Actually, we're going to encourage you to write an introduction, and toward the end of that introductory paragraph, have your statement of purpose. That's what seems to work well. Okay, but again, that statement of purpose then gives a bullseye for you to be shooting for with all of your research. So you'll have your statement of purpose, and then all of your research should be aiming toward your achieving that statement of purpose. Okay, now as you create the statement of purpose, it's conceivable that as you get farther into your topic, you might want to go in a different direction. That's okay. Then you have to change your statement of purpose. But the sooner you can define what it is you're trying to do, the easier this whole process gets. Again, the defining now is not carving it in stone. You may want to change it, and that's okay. But for the most part, most of you will be able to say, here's what I want to do, and then your research can be geared exactly toward that. Get the idea of what we're trying to do here? Okay. So let me read for you a sample introductory paragraph that ends with something of a statement of purpose. This one is pretty long, and it's probably longer than most of you will do, because generally what you want to do is write something that gives some general background, kind of like the big picture, and then you go from that big picture down to a smaller picture, so that you really go from the broad down to the very narrow. Okay, that's what we're doing in an introduction. Here's the big thing, but we want to get down to a specific narrow thing. So we want to drill down, which is a term that I'm sure you have used in doing any kind of research. Okay, so let me read this sample to you. Again, it's kind of long, but it'll give you an idea. The name of the research paper is Deja Vu, at last a subject for serious study. Deja vu means thinking about something, in a sense, before it happens. Okay. Brain hiccup might be another name for déjà vu, French for already seen. During a moment of déjà vu, a person relives an event that in reality is happening for the first time. The hiccup metaphor seems apt because each modern scientific explanation of the déjà vu phenomenon involves a doubled event, as this paper will demonstrate. However, such modern scientific work was long in coming. In his article, The Déjà Vu Illusion, today's leading researcher in the field, Alan S. Brown at SMU, states that for over 170 years, this most puzzling of memory illusions has intrigued scholars, but was hampered when, during the behaviorist era, the plethora of parapsychological and psychodynamic interpretations multiplied rapidly. Thus, notions of the supernatural and magic halted the scientific study of déjà vu for almost 2 centuries. By the first quarter of the 20th century, it began again slowly. Although a few people today still prefer to believe that feelings of déjà vu have mysterious or supernatural origins, recent research in cognitive psychology and the neurosciences has shed much rational light on the phenomena. Okay, so what we did here is just what I mentioned to you earlier. We gave kind of the big picture of déjà vu. Okay, and then when we went from this big picture down to something pretty small, the big picture over the course of centuries, and then down to something small. Although a few people today still prefer to believe that feelings of déjà vu have mysterious or supernatural origins, recent research in cognitive psychology and the neurosciences has shed much natural light on the phenomenon. Okay, so this last sentence is telling us where we're going to go. We're going to be looking specifically at the studies in cognitive psychology and neurosciences having to do with déjà vu. Okay, so with your opening paragraph, you want to get your reader right into what you're doing. Your opening paragraph or 2 paragraphs. Okay, and toward the end, probably, it might be the very first sentence in your whole paper. There is no exact right way. But the most common way is for people to write a paragraph or 2, and then near the end of that paragraph or 2 paragraphs of introductory material, usually going from the bigger picture down to the smaller picture, the person pretty specifically states what their paper is going to be about. Now, if you noticed in that example that I read you, it does say, as this paper will demonstrate. That's not a bad idea. I'm not saying you have to do it, but I'm not saying it's wrong either. Okay? If you want to do that, that will help you hone in. And a big part of the research process and simplifying the research process is you're honing in as soon as you can. And I'm forcing you to do that now. Okay? Are you stuck with exactly what you write now? No. Will you be able to sit down and do this in 15 minutes? Probably not. I personally would spend lots of time on introductions in my research paper. But that's me. We all write differently. You may have a very specific idea of where you're going right now. Good. That's what this is for. Okay? So I'm going to ask you to do that in the assignment for this week. And I'm going to ask you to continue to collect information in the assignment this week. And I also then had a few people who need to rewrite their essays, the narrative essay, because they still had some areas that needed attacking. Okay, so we'll be doing that. I need to think then if I want to have you go on to another kind of essay as well. I have to count the number of weeks and see where we are and see when we're going to be due to see if I need you to do that. But anyway, you'll see that when you see the assignment. So I would encourage you to watch this essay a couple of times. I'm sorry, this video a couple of times so that you can really get the idea of what an introductory paragraph or 2 and a statement of purpose is all about in a research paper. Questions, comments, you know where to get me.